Hey everyone, and welcome back to Duo Blocks edX. Today, we are going to tackle a word that you hear everywhere in the tech world, Kubernetes. You know, if you've ever felt like you're the only one who doesn't quite get it, you're in the right place. Let's break it down together, nice and simple.
I mean, seriously, right? Everyone talks about it. You're in a meeting, someone mentions K8s, and you just find yourself nodding along, hoping nobody asks you a direct question. You are definitely not alone in that feeling. But trust me, by the end of this, you are finally going to get what all the fuss is about.
So to really get Kubernetes, we have to start with the problem it was designed to fix. Think about the apps you use every day, like Spotify or Amazon. They aren't just one giant blob of code. Nope. They're actually made up of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of tiny independent services all working together. And each of those little services gets packaged up into something called a container. Now that's awesome for building things, but just imagine trying to manage all of those containers by hand. Making sure they're running, talking to each other, getting updates, it would be an absolute nightmare. Total chaos.
And that is exactly where Kubernetes comes in to save the day. At its heart, Kubernetes, and you'll often see it shortened to K8s, that's just K, 8 letters, then S, is an open source system that brings order to all that container chaos. It's basically a super smart manager that automates all the really tricky parts, like deploying your apps, scaling them up when you get tons of traffic, and just generally keeping everything running smoothly.
And you know, this thing has some serious street cred. It wasn't just dreamed up overnight, it was born at Google, and it was inspired by their own internal system called Bork, which they used for over a decade to run things like, Gmail and Google Search, just a couple of small projects. So in 2014, they released Kubernetes as an open source project, and by 2015, it was ready for the world. The point is, this tool was battle-tested at a massive, planetary scale before most of us ever heard of it.
And the name itself is actually a huge clue as to what it does. Kubernetes is a Greek word, and it means helmsman, or pilot. The person who steers a ship. And honestly, you couldn't ask for a more perfect metaphor.
So let's just run with that analogy for a minute. Imagine all the little parts of your app, all those containers, are a fleet of little ships. You've got a ship for handling user logins, another fleet of ships for the shopping cart, and maybe some more for processing payments. Well, Kubernetes is the captain of this entire fleet. It's the one standing at the helm, directing every single ship, telling them where to go, and making sure they all work together as a team to get the job done.
So how does this captain actually pull it off? How does it command this giant fleet? Well, Kubernetes really has 5 main jobs, or, as I like to call them, 5 superpowers that make it so incredibly effective.
All right, let's run through them. First up, automation. The captain automatically starts, stops, and restarts all the ships. No manual work needed. Next, we've got scaling. Let's say a huge wave of customers is heading your way. The captain sees this coming and instantly launches more ships to handle the load. And when things calm down, it sends them back to port. Third, health management, or self-healing. This one is huge. If one of your ships springs a leak and starts to sink, meaning a container crashes, the captain doesn't panic. It immediately launches an identical replacement. The app just keeps on running. Fourth is networking. The captain makes sure all the ships can talk to each other securely, so the payment ship can confirm everything with the inventory ship. And finally, configuration control. The captain manages all the fleet settings and secrets, and can even update the entire fleet without having to call everyone back to the harbor.
Okay, so we know what our captain does. Now let's quickly look at the basic pieces it's managing. There are really just 3 core concepts you need to know to get started: the pod, the node, and the cluster.
The most fundamental piece, the smallest thing you can work with, is called a pod. A pod holds one or more of your containers that need to work really closely together. So if we stick with our analogy, a single container might be a sailor, but a pod is the entire ship, with its crew, all working together in one unit.
Okay, so where do these ships, our pods, actually live? Well, that's where the node comes in. A node is just a machine. It could be a real physical server or a virtual machine in the cloud, and its job is to host your pods. Think of a node as a single dock in a giant harbor. It's a place where the ships can be stationed and get their work done.
And finally, you guessed it, if you take all of those nodes, all those docks, and put them together, you get a cluster. The cluster is the entire harbor, all the docks combined, working together as one big, powerful system. And our captain, Kubernetes, is in charge of this whole harbor, deciding which ship goes to which dock for the best results.
All right, analogies are great, but let's put these pieces together and see how it works with a real-world example that we can all understand: a simple online shop.
So,
Let's say our online shop has three main services: a front end, which is the storefront that customers see, a back end, which is like the warehouse that processes orders, and a database, which is the record book. Kubernetes takes each of these parts and puts them into their own pods. Now, it's Black Friday. Traffic goes through the roof. What happens? That scaling superpower kicks in. Kubernetes automatically launches more front-end storefront pods to handle on the shoppers. It's like opening a dozen new checkout lanes instantly. But then, disaster. The back-end pod that handles inventory crashes. Without Kubernetes, your site might go down. But with it, that self-healing superpower fires up and a brand new back-end pod is launched instantly. The customers never even notice a thing. And the best part? All of this happens automatically.
And that right there, that automation, that resilience is exactly why developers and businesses absolutely love Kubernetes. It's not just about cool technology, it's about the real, tangible payoffs you get from using it.
So what's the big deal? Well, for one, it works everywhere. You can run your app the exact same way on Amazon's cloud, Google's cloud, Microsoft's cloud, or even on your own servers. No more being locked into one provider. Second, as we saw, it handles high traffic like a champ and prevents downtime. Your app stays available thanks to that self-healing and those smooth rolling updates. No more 3 a.m. panic calls for developers. And finally, the ecosystem is massive. Whatever you need to do, monitoring, security, anything, there is almost certainly a tool out there that plugs right into Kubernetes.
So really, if you only take one thing away from this, let it be this. Kubernetes lets developers stop worrying about managing all the messy, complicated infrastructure underneath. It handles the health, the scaling, and the networking of their applications. This frees up developers to do what they actually love doing, writing code and building amazing features for you and me.
And there you have it. That's Kubernetes in a nutshell. It's the captain that turns a chaotic mess of containers into an organized, self-healing fleet. I really hope this helped you finally get what it's all about. If you're looking for more tech tutorials and developer roadmaps, be sure to subscribe to us on the DuoBlox Ed's YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.